So now that you guys know what you need for this year, this is how it's going to work. I'm going to try to make it a 2-week process for you to turn in your stuff because we're making interactive notebooks. So there's cutting and gluing, and then I want you to actually think about what we did, and I want you to listen to the lesson before you jump on the gluing and the cutting. So I need to give you time to do that. And I know I need to give you time to do that. So that is why our lessons will be 2 weeks long. Now, it is up to your homeroom teacher as to when it's your specials time. And I know some teachers are going to give you a specific special. So you have to do PE today, you have to do art today. And some teachers are gonna let you decide as long as you do them all. But this is not like the springtime, guys. I don't want you to think it is. I am going to put the lessons on Monday, and I expect them to be due that Friday that they're due, okay? So we're not really gonna have the whole weekend like we did in the spring to get things done. Because really you should be doing these during your specials time during the day, okay? So I'm gonna make it that you have time to do it, and I'm going to try to do it so that it's always stuff that you have. So what I would love to do is, instead of doing a really short video like I did in the spring, I tried to quickly teach you and then show you how to get stuff. What we're gonna do is the first lesson, so the first week, is going to be your interactive notebook. That's gonna be the big chunk, okay? That's gonna be where I teach you about what we're going to talk about and really dive in. In the second week, that's when we're going to have a hands-on lab, okay? Now, you're questioning, how do I get graded? Well, there is a couple of things that I wanna see from you, okay? So during the second week, I know some of you won't be able to do the labs because mom and dad aren't there to help you right away. And if you can't do them during your specials time, that's okay. I understand if you have to do them later. But I would like to hear from you a little bit, like what happened during your lab, okay? It's important that I know you at least tried. That's where I need to know if you're getting hands-on. But the biggest chunk of your grade is actually coming from your interactive notebook. Because what's really cool about these notebooks is when you come back to school, not only will it be something that the face-to-face kids have, but also it should help you in your homeroom class, okay? So it should be helping you study in your homeroom class. Now, I know some of the older grades are doing interactive notebooks online as well. That's okay. My stuff may be similar, it may be different, meaning I may have it built a different way, but it's all the same material and it's all there to help you learn. So if it's duplicated, don't think you get to skip my notebook, guys. It's not a way to skip it. It's there for deeper understanding, deeper instruction, because the more you're exposed to something, the better it sticks with you, okay? The more that you understand it, the more that you've done it, the more that you've looked at it, those are ways that it sticks in your brain and you're able to remember it, okay? So if we do the same thing, I apologize. I'm trying not to. I'm trying to hear what others are doing. But if I do, I'm sorry, but do it for me anyway, because that's just more exposure for you and it's helping you understand it, okay? So let's dive into our interactive notebooks, because this week we're talking about how to set those notebooks up correctly, the right way, get them done. We already had our first week lesson, which is how to stay safe and how to listen and do what we're supposed to and what materials we needed. So hopefully you took that first week to go out and get those materials if you didn't have them. But now hopefully you have them and we're ready to go, okay? So this time I'm setting up the notebook. Next time we're going to start a brand new lesson, okay? So you've had 2 weeks. We've done 2 weeks worth of school already. Next time we're actually diving into your lessons, okay? And we're going to start and do an interactive notebook page and then do an experiment. And the experiments are not gonna be major. Hopefully it's stuff you have at your house, okay? So here we go, diving into the notebook. That very first page, when you first open it up, that's your page. You can decorate it any way you want to. But the second page on the notebook, that's where I want you to put your table of contents, okay? So for our very first interactive session, I want you to write at the top, table of content, and I want you to write number 1, science, safety, and set up notebook, okay? This will be your table of contents, and the hope is if you number this correctly and number your pages correctly, you will be able to flip through your book like a regular notebook and find this same title on that number page and be able to use it just like you would a story and a chapter book or something like that, okay? So that's our hope. I'm gonna stop talking for just a few minutes. When I do that, that's not because I have nothing to say, but rather that's a good place to pause your video because you've listened to the instructions. So that's a good place to pause the video for a minute and do the writing or the cutting. So I'm gonna stop talking for a minute so you can write your header, table of content, and write your number 1. Alrighty, guys. So it should have paused enough that when you can pick it back up after you've written. So once we've done that, I want you to skip the next page, okay? It's really important that you skip the next page because we have a lot to do and a lot to learn. So our table of contents may actually spill over and we have to give it room to do that, okay? So we're just gonna ignore this page for now, but hopefully by the end of the year, it'll be all full. And we're gonna flip to the next page. Now, on this page, you should have printed out our science rules, okay? These are the rules that I have for the actual lab. Those of you that had me last year, you should remember these rules because even though we're not in the lab and we have the new rule of listening to an adult or having an adult there, I want you to remember the lab rules because if we see each other again face to face, and I hope it's soon, you are able to tell me you know the lab rules. Don't worry, I'll go over them again when I do get to see you in my lab finally, but I do want you to have them at the beginning because they're also good rules to use when you're doing an experiment with mom and dad at home. So this is a printout, so hopefully you can go ahead and print that out. I want you to cut it and glue it on this page. I want you to sign the bottom saying that you read it. So let's read it together. Do not do anything yet because we're following the listen for directions. And remember, Miss Bender told you she'll pause when it's time to pause the video and you take your turn. So don't go darting off to the printer. Don't go looking through Schoology for this. Just hang on. So our science rules and say we listen carefully to directions. We do not touch without permission, and that includes with mom and dad at home. If mom and dad aren't ready for you to do an experiment, you should not do it until they give you the okay. Number 3, we do not eat, drink, or smell anything without permission. So even if we're using a tasty cookie or a yummy apple, if Miss Bender doesn't say on the video, you can eat this, do not eat it. If I don't demonstrate myself eating something, you should not eat it, okay? And remember, we never stick our nose up onto something. Instead, what we do is a science technique called wafting, and it's where you hold the item far away, take your other hand and pull that smell towards you. You should actually feel air as you do this motion, and that is called wafting, okay? So we don't want to hurt our nose by sticking it directly over something. We want to pull that smell towards us. All right, number 4, We use the correct science tools. Now, I know you guys aren't in my lab, but you will be using stuff for science, like mom and dad's glasses and plates from the cabinets. So when we're dealing with anything that's glass, we're gonna walk, not run. We're gonna use 2 hands. We're gonna listen to directions, and we're not gonna play around, just like if you were in my lab. Number 5. We clean up our area when we are done. Now, I know you guys are at home right now, and I know you guys aren't in my lab, but you guys do such a wonderful job at helping Miss Bender clean up. I really hope that you help mom and dad clean up from the labs too. We don't want to leave a mess all over your house, just like we don't leave a mess in the lab. And then I want you guys to put your name down at the bottom. Miss Bender did cursive, but you're welcome to print. And I want you to put a number 1. Now, I have more to say about the notebook, but I'm gonna pause here so that you can go and print out your science rules and cut them and glue them.